Home, a place of safety, warmth, nostalgia, comfort, familiarity, rest, and relaxation. Homes in video games may seem like a strange focus for a video, considering the fact that in most games you are usually on a journey away from home. Games may even go out of their way to push you out of your home. You might leave out of boredom or even a necessity to progress in the game and continue the plot. However, here I would like to show you some notable homes in gaming and their importance. Role-playing games are as good a place to start as any, as there are many RPGs where you play as a child protagonist starting their adventure at their home. Take Earthbound for example. The game begins as a meteor lands on a nearby hill, where you receive a message from an extraterrestrial fly telling you that you are the chosen hero who must defeat Gygus. However, before you embark on your adventure, you live at home with your mother, your sister Tracy, and your lovable coward of a talking dog. Tracy can keep hold of your items, and your mom can act as a healer by cooking your favorite food for you and sending you to bed. And honestly, in RPGs, healing is a surefire way to get a player to recognize something as good, especially if health items are usually hard to come by. So, to recap, going home in Earthbound lets you replenish HP, save progress by calling your dad, and store extra items. This makes your home a perfect place to just relax and recharge before you head out again. It's almost guaranteed that the player will value their home in this game, since you're forced to associate your abode with things that benefit you. Homesickness is even a debilitating condition that causes your character, Ness, to long for home, and can be cured by returning or calling your mom. Before we move on though, I want to talk a little more about Onett, your hometown. Behind the bright green landscape and the chirpy song that plays in the background, Onett is actually a pretty dreary place. The police force is lazy and lackluster, a gang known as the Sharks terrorizes the streets, and if you want to stand a chance of surviving attacks from dogs and snakes, you'll need to buy weapons at the local drugstore. This certainly provides a good challenge, but also shatters the illusion of safety if you're trying to traverse your neighborhood early on in the game. Even staying at your home can feel awkward when you realize your neighbors hate you since your father never paid off his debt to them, resulting in their poverty, and your neighbors are evil or something. But either way, this game can be surprisingly dark, even at your home. But next, let's look at homes in another RPG that's a little more well known, Pokemon. In this game you start in your modest hometown, whether it be Pallet, Newbark, Littleroot or Twinleaf, where you meet your rival, your friend and your first starter Pokemon. Your home in Pokemon games is quite similar to the one in Earthbound. You live with your mom in a 2-room house where you and your party can sleep, watch TV and recover health. We've already discussed that this makes the player happy to be at home and gives the player an incentive to come back home, albeit not a very strong incentive considering the existence of Pokemon centers in every other city and town. Your town doesn't feel as dangerous as in Earthbound, but that could just be down to it being a lot smaller and a lot less busy. Overall, the setting may be unremarkably quaint, but it serves a purpose, as it makes the player want to go explore other towns and cities and challenge gym leaders, as well as eventually, the Elite Four. Speaking of the Elite Four, you also tend to revisit your hometown after beating them and finishing the game. This makes your town a lot more special, as you see how small it is and how far you've come over the whole campaign. As you hear the charming and humbling tune of the town you came from, you may even feel nostalgic. Undertale is a Kickstarter-funded RPG created by Toby Fox in which you explore the underground, either befriending or murdering the monsters you encounter along the way. It has become renowned for its story, gameplay, and music, but most importantly, its focus on morality and decision making. Ismail and I have actually finished a playthrough for the channel, and for the past 2 years it's been great. Just don't ask why it took so long. Anyway, after crawling through the ruins with the help of the wonderful mother figure in the game, Toriel, you were kindly invited to stay at her place. And wow, her house could easily be the most heartwarming, relaxing video game home out there. Eating freshly baked butterscotch cinnamon pie before going to bed and reading with her by the crackling campfire is enough to make any player get emotionally attached. Much like the theme of Home's simple and calming acoustic composition, the layout of Toriel's house is modest and recognizable, with few rooms. The home track itself shares its melody with the start menu theme, heard at the beginning of the game, and the Undertale theme, heard towards the end of the game, in New Home. We have spoken about how nostalgia also greatly influences the player to feel a certain way, and Undertale hits the nail right on the head with this too. We visit an almost identical copy of Toriel's home later in the game, which helps the player sympathize with Asgore, which is important to the narrative as we are told Asgore is planning to murder us, and we must make a decision about whether we intend to kill him too, or have mercy on him. Overall, the home scene creates a peaceful environment that improves our experience as the player. Now, I'd like to move on to some different games where I feel like the idea of home is well established. Animal Crossing is the captivating, cartoony life simulator where you must pay off your mortgage to Tom Nook in your randomly generated village by performing daily tasks like gardening, fishing, collecting fossils, and so on. The series is known for being relaxing, as it has quite a large number of activities, but allows you to proceed with them at your own pace. The games also do not provide you with specific objectives. Instead, you make and accomplish your own short-term and long-term goals as you play it. This line of games in particular, along with other games similar to it like Stardew Valley, master two things we haven't covered yet: personalization and belonging. You are free to decorate your home however you want in Animal Crossing, and in its latest installment, New Leaf, this artistic liberty extends to being in charge of the whole town. You design your own dwelling, upgrading it and adding items bit by bit, repeating the process ad nauseum, until hypothetically you are finally content with it. Customization allows the player to make their house their own, as somewhere they would want to live. The fact that you have to work to get what you want also makes it all the more satisfying and meaningful when you do get it, because of the time and effort you know you put in. The other aspect of home that I mentioned was belonging. Animal Crossing has an inexplicable, calming, charming sense of community about it. The dialogue of the game is one of the things that makes it so special. Each resident of the town has a unique design and quirky personality, and though some may be friendlier than others, giving gifts and building relationships with each one of them is one of the most important parts of the game. The entire Animal Crossing experience is quite personal to the player, and the atmosphere it creates is almost unrivaled. Chibi Robo Plug into Adventure was released for the GameCube, where you play as a miniature metallic robot called Chibi Robo, who is accompanied by a talkative, hovering television. The game focuses on resource management and exploration, as you must clean and do household tasks in the Sanderson residence, with your size making gameplay more compelling by giving you a wildly different perspective. The Sanderson family is evidently undergoing problems with debt from the beginning of the game, and in the face of a possible divorce, things are looking grim. Each family member experiences feelings of loneliness and isolation because of what they are going through, but you are there to help, however little you can. This in turn makes the chores that you do feel more significant, as your mission suddenly involves saving a marriage rather than just scrubbing the carpet with your toothbrush, which, to be fair, is still pretty damn fun. Chibi Robo is a unique example in this video, as it is the only game that I've mentioned that is entirely set in a home. Even if this is the home of your owner, Jenny Sanderson, the more the game continues, the more the house feels like your home too. After all you have done, you feel like you are part of the Sanderson family. So far, you may think that I have been following some loose ends with these homes in games, and though my next example may be surprising, it definitely is the strongest game I have up my sleeve. Super Mario 64 was a masterpiece. It revolutionized 3D platforming and was an essential innovation in gaming history. It is widely regarded as one of the best video games of all time, and even after standing the test of time, is a testament to gaming as a whole. Its simple visuals, music, and mechanics are all outstanding, but I'm sure you are thinking, how does all of this relate to homes? Mario doesn't seem to have a home unless you are referring to the pipe that he jumps out of, which is on screen for less than a minute before returning to the depths of hell from which it came. Well, no, I'm not talking about the emerging pipe. Instead, I feel like the best home in gaming is Peach's Castle. The castle grounds are where you first start the game. You can mess around with the controls and just see what you can do. You can climb trees, you can swim, you can triple jump, long jump, and ground pound for as long as you want. There's little to no danger, and you are free to get a taste of what the game has to offer. The inside of the castle contains paintings that lead to all of the stages in the game, and as it acts as a hub world for your adventures, when you die, complete the level, or start the game up, you will consistently return to it. I never really found myself bored in the castle either, as it provided a gateway to levels that I would complete over and over again just because of how fun they were. And above all, I and many others feel overwhelmingly nostalgic when jumping into Peach's Castle. It is a home of childhood memories, and though that is entirely subjective, it represents how much the game means to me. Even when revisiting Mushroom Kingdom in Mario Odyssey, I feel like I am glancing back at a home that has now very much changed. It no longer has a painting of marching bob-ombs or a hidden entrance to a secret slide. It vaguely resembles the place I remember, but now inhabits an alarming number of toads, and is a lot smaller inside. It's still just as fun and relaxing to leap around the castle grounds, but really the best way to describe my emotion toward it would be a fond reminiscence to what once was. Though homes don't need to be as traditional as the ones that I've mentioned earlier. They don't even need to be houses. Take Shovel Knight for example, a beautiful 2D platformer by Yacht Club Games where you are constantly moving ahead to fight enemies, leap across platforms and solve puzzles. This often makes it hard to establish buildings and locations since the landscape is always changing and being passed by. But in Shovel Knight, throughout your journey, you continuously return to a serene spot in the form of a campfire. This simple and calming scene lets the player rest and recover from their previous battles before moving on to the next. And though this brief pause may not seem like much, after returning to it after every significant victory, it too will begin to feel like home. At the end of the day, these are just a few ideas that I came up with, and though I think homes can be important in video games, they are by no means necessary. The adjectives I used to describe home at the beginning of the video relate to how I personally think of my home, and though games themselves may not be obviously linked with homes, they certainly provide an escape from the many struggles and hardships of life. Some people may not feel safe at home because they are being bullied, have abusive parents, or live in a rough neighborhood. However, I think many also find comfort in gaming. That's why I think it's important that there are more homes in games that can make the player feel at home, or even completely subvert the motive by making a home that is intentionally dangerous and frightening so that people can appreciate their homes more. If done correctly, it can improve the experience for players of both challenging and intense games, and games that are much more slow-paced and relaxing. If you want to watch any more videos related to homes and gaming, I have a few recommendations that I'll probably put in the cards and the description below. The first one is by
Redacted,
and it's all about the Donkey Kong Country soundtrack and how that reflects feeling at home and slowly progressing and getting further away from home. And the second one is about relaxing video games rather than just games that focus on a home. It covers Animal Crossing as well as a lot of other games like Kirby's Epic Yarn. It's by BeeSquared and I'd highly recommend both of them. They're in the links down below. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed my first video essay on gaming and want to see more, please like and subscribe. If you had any other ideas for homes and games that I did not mention, go ahead and let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, bye bye.